and welcome to UMD News for this hour. I'm Shimelis Gebremichael. In the headlines, Ethiopia tops global list of highest internally displaced peoples. Tigray forces announce release of 4 Southern Army prisoners of war. Somalia's new president faces a familiar political security challenge. And now, we will move into the news in details. We invite you all to stay with the program. In the meantime, please do not forget to like and share our programs and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is UMD News and I'm Shimelis Gebremichael. And now, the news in detail. Ethiopia tops global list of highest internally displaced peoples. Internal Displacement Monitoring Center IDMC states that Ethiopia recorded the highest number of internally displaced people IDPs than any other country in 2021. According to IDMC's 2022 global report, conflict and violence in the Horn of Africa nation triggered more than 5.1 million new displacements in 2021, 3 times the number in 2020 and the highest annual figure ever recorded for a single country. IDMC findings across Ethiopia indicated that 4.2 million people were displaced at the end of 2021, more than 80% of them because of conflict and violence. The IDMC's data shows that there were 59.1 million internally displaced people across the world at the end of 2021. Of these, 53.2 million were displaced because of conflict and violence and 5.9 million because of disasters. In sub-Saharan Africa, more than 14 million were displaced, 11.6 million due to conflict and 2.6 million due to natural disasters, accounting for more than 80% of all internal displacements triggered by conflict and violence worldwide in 2021. Tigray forces announced release of 4 Southern Army prisoners of war. Tigray forces say they have released 4 Southern prisoners of war as part of an amnesty. According to the latest information, the Tigray forces decided to release 4,208 prisoners of war with an amnesty, out of which 401 were women. Birhane Kabede, coordinator of the prisoners center in the region, was quoted as saying by the regional ruling party most of them were captured in fighting outside of the Tigray region and others joined the fight in a forced conscription. Birhane said those with disabilities, illness and women who gave birth in detention were given priority for release. According to a foreign diplomat in Addis Ababa, who said talks at the political level have not yet taken place, the decision to release the prisoners followed weeks of talks held between military commanders on both sides. However, the Ethiopian government have been denying that the release of prisoners of war are not from the country's forces. This is the second time Tigray forces have announced the release of prisoners of war. In July 2021, they announced the release of 1,000 Federal Army soldiers after parading them in front of the public. The people and government of Tigray are still suffering with the repercussion of the siege, with only around 300 trucks reaching the region, unlike the 100 trucks demanded every day. Ethiopia arrests 4 Southern in Amhara region crackdown. Ethiopian authorities have arrested more than 4 Southern people in the northern Amhara region amid a wider crackdown against militia fighters, critics, and the press. Gezacho Mulune, spokesperson for the Amhara Regional Administration, and federal government spokesperson Legesse Tulu did not immediately respond to requests for comment on the wave of arrests. Meanwhile, authorities in Ethiopia's northern Amhara region have arrested 4 employees of a US-based online media outlet, while the whereabouts of 2 others was unclear. The arrest would add those of 5 journalists in another Amhara media over what their colleagues said was the outlet's reporting of the activity of a local volunteer militia known as Fano. And finally, Somalia's new president faces similar political security challenge. Somalia's new president is starting his 4-year term facing familiar top issues such as the country's political divide and rising attacks by Al-Qaeda-linked insurgent groups Al-Shabaab. As he settles into office, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud faces a politically divided nation, high public expectations, and the specter of Al-Shabaab, which has remained a potent threat since it emerged in 2007. The distribution of power in Somalia is on a clan-based system, locally known as the 4-5 system, where majority clans are allocated majority seats in parliament, while the smaller clans group together get the remainder. Besides tackling the political question, Mahmoud must contend with the security threats posed by militant group Al-Shabaab. According to Abdurrahman Sheikh Azhari, the director of the Mogadishu-based Center for Analysis and Strategic Studies, the new president, like his predecessor, doesn't have much leeway in dealing with Al-Shabaab. Yusuf too shares a similar view that the new president may need to consider taking a different approach by opening lines of communication with the militant group. Having had the backing of most opposition candidates during the May 15 vote, Mahmoud now must avoid the fallout while ensuring he puts in place a competent team to deliver his election promises. Analysts say the new leader could take advantage of the planned return of US forces to the country to bolster the war against Al-Shabaab and strengthen the national army. For now, the country is waiting to see who Mahmoud will pick as Prime Minister. Well, dear viewers and listeners, with that, we come to the end of the news for today. This is UMD Media News, and I am Shimelis Gebremichael. Please do not forget to like and share our programs and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow our programs through our other platforms as well to become the first to know what is going on in Ethiopia, the Horn, Africa, and the world in general. You can easily reach us via our email address newstips2020umd@gmail.com. Thank you for watching and have a good one.